What's up, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Chromecast. My name's Joe, joined here today by Robbie.
Hey, what's up?
Gabriel.
Hello.
Andy Cam over there.
Hey, guys.
Paul. Dan. We got the whole crew.
Yeah, I know you're counting.
Whole crew.
How many weeks in a row is that?
Whole crew's here.
I mean, it's several.
Okay.
It's enough that he stopped counting.
I
Oh,
did.
wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
I pointed out last week
I got my
because we
routine
got
now.
distracted.
Right, we did.
So I assumed I'd be forgotten.
Which is
Yeah.
rare. We don't normally
No.
get distracted.
This is the most just like news information strict podcast you're ever going to listen to.
It's
So
like
let's get right
it's
into
like
it.
NPR. Yeah.
Yeah, this is basically
When he
NPR.
said-
Breaking news today and out of London. I listen to talk radio a lot.
This is,
so-
this is the exact opposite of that.
I just think of
This is like you have that, and then we're over here on
throwback,
the opposite side.
Good Morning Vietnam. The two twins that get all the stuff off the wire. They're the ones that approve everything. I'm like, that's what we need here.
Yeah.
To keep us.
We don't have that, though.
We don't. We have Andy Cam who, yells at us every now and then. Stay on track.
He's a gentle giant.
Only
Joseph.
when he gets hungry.
Yeah.
That's right. We are podcasting in the morning, but it's okay.
We normally don't.
But it's okay because we have lots of coffee.
Yes.
I'm drinking coffee. Normally, I'm not drinking coffee when we podcast
See how
because it's
fast
in the
he's talking?
afternoon.
Yeah, it's
I'm wired. I'm
past
juiced.
his nap time.
I'm fueled.
We got
I'm
to get
fueled.
it done before he crashes.
Exactly. No. And my morning coffee's always fine. I
Sugar's
can't
low.
have that afternoon coffee, man. That afternoon coffee gets me feeling weird.
Coffee all day, every day.
Yeah, I know. You all can just drink it.
Hot. I don't care if it's hot
I've
outside.
stopped drinking coffee. I used to drink coffee the moment I wake up. I would get up, shake off the sleep, go to the kitchen, get a cup, drink it.
I do that.
I've started doing
I do not do that.
30 to 45 minutes because I've been reading a lot of the science behind it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Drinking coffee immediately, like, mute your body's natural,
Yeah.
whatever the hormones are that when you wake up. And I've noticed that 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't get that tired anymore that I used to
interesting.
get. So,
Well, I
Yeah, I
say
don't-
that, but like today I didn't because I don't know. I woke up. I didn't have any cold brew and I didn't want to make a cup, and so I just
Yeah, my first cup's
get up,
always
drink,
here.
Yeah, get up and drink water. Yeah, and you've
Yeah.
done that for a long time.
Yeah.
So.
I mean,
Even
it's
like
our
on the
time
weekends, when I first get up, I don't wake up, go straight to make. Of course, I do like a hand espresso pump thing, so
Right.
it's a whole thing.
now. Yeah, that's why a lot of times in the
I do a
morning
lot
I'm
of
like, I'm like, I don't want to mess with espresso.
I gotta wake up a little bit.
Before you get into that whole
Yeah.
situation.
Y'all are bougie.
It's
I got an
delicious, though.
espresso.
But you
I
might
do too.
Yeah.
But I've
But
gone back
you-
to the espresso.
you might notice we didn't even grab our other stuff. Andy Cam, can you go grab the thing that I need to talk about? And get the canister too.
And the other
Don't mind.
thing.
Thank
and
you.
the thing.
Also,
Thank you.
anything else you grab,
Just whatever else you want to bring in
If you
here.
find some
Grab
other
that
cool
PXG box.
Yeah.
they'll be a sponsor soon.
clubs.
Gil the golf club.
So you might notice we have some sweet merch on, some sweet swag.
Everywhere.
Got my
don't even-
I got my black my Blackbeard's Revenge.
Oh yeah.
Love this one. Super excited to announce.
gosh.
Look at this. Oh my gosh. Yes!
He
Bring it in.
literally has
Bring
an
it in.
armful of things.
Bring it in.
Everything.
Look
I
at
do
this.
love these. I want to cook
Look
some
at
ramen.
this.
or
Now
something.
you have to
Oatmeal.
watch
Look
the
at
video.
this.
Oatmeal's perfect.
Look
yeah.
at this.
Yeah, I'm gonna do oatmeal. on
Boom.
this.
Be like
Check it
2
out.
packs of oatmeal. Yeah.
Check it out. Super excited to
Which one would be better?
officially
This one?
announce.
This one or this one?
No, you all show it to this camera.
Okay.
Yeah, right? Andy Cam, what do you think?
Each one works.
Okay.
Okay.
So, super excited to announce that Fresh Roasted Coffee is now the official coffee of the Chromecast. And as part of this awesome partnership that we've had with them for a while now, we've been drinking this stuff for
well over a year.
Oh,
year and a half
easily.
now.
Yeah.
And this is we've said this 100 times. This is not like we found a company that'll give
Shameless.
us some money to
Yeah.
put stuff on. Like
No, we found a company that we like to drink.
right, and went the other way with it.
Yeah.
I give this.
Found
stuff
out
as
they had
gifts
an affiliate, and we were
constantly.
like, oh, sweet. Let's work with
we
them.
love
This is
fresh
great.
roasted coffee.
And as part of this kind of collaboration and this announcement, we have worked with them on a special edition Chrome unboxed label. So
Yep.
show it off to the camera there. You get this sweet bag, this sweet label with our color bar across the top. You get our logo down here on the bottom. It's going to come in 2 sizes. You can get the regular kind of 12-ounce bag. This is what this is kind of your standard bag of coffee.
Yeah, store bought, like
store bought
on the shelf.
Yep, store bought. Or if you're going to be
go big.
Yeah, if you have it like for an office, or if you have a family that's drinking on it, you might go with the 2-pound bag.
Yeah.
It's going to come in drip. So like your just regular ground coffee that you would put in the coffee maker, or whole bean. If you have a grinder, whole bean is what we recommend. And for the actual coffee that's inside of these bags, we went with the anniversary blend. So this was a blend that they did to celebrate their 10-year. Right? Yes.
I think yes.
10-year.
Yep.
And
it's fantastic. It's been that's our daily cup for.
We've been hooked
6
on
months.
this since it came out.
Yeah,
Like
we tried a couple others, and they're really good. But then this one showed up, and we're like, "Oh, let's try that." When we tried it, it's perfect because
it's a daily drinker.
Oddly enough, it says strawberry and mild lemon, and I'm not a citrus coffee. I like roasty, ashy, earthy stuff.
Yeah,
this is not a fruity coffee.
My guess, I need to pull a shot and just sit there and sample it without adding water. I usually make an Americano.
I do that.
A little bit of,
and I wonder if you brewed a pod, if it might pick up some of those notes.
Probably
a
pull
little
out some of
more,
that.
But
they were light notes. Don't be fooled by that. This is just a good round,
great espresso,
full-bodied cup of coffee.
Right,
It's really great. And we've brewed some in the coffee pot. I've done.
We've done cold brew too.
I do espressos at the house. I've done AeroPress at the house.
It's
with
very
it.
versatile. Very versatile.
Heck, I've done a mocha pot with it at the house. It's great.
And anything you can find that you can do espresso and still get a decent drip brew out of, to me, is like the holy grail of coffee.
Sweet spot.
Because a lot of times you get
it's usually not the case.
Yeah, you get something that's great in drip, like a Guatemalan, or you get a
Yirgacheffe or whatever.
You know, one of those like single origins. You're like, this is so good, and then you stick it in an espresso machine. And you're like, oh,
and it does not stand up. It's
whatever
like
note
sour. It's
It's
weird.
Sumatra in espresso makers.
It's just it's single origin stuff doesn't work in espresso most of the time. I've yet to try one that's like, ooh, that's great. They always that one note that they're famous for, whatever it is in that particular single origin. It just exacerbates it big time, and it's not good. But this is really good in all scenarios. But it's a good blend. Good blends are versatile, and this is very versatile.
Yeah, and we thought this was going to be like a limited time blend that they had, and then it's kind of hung around.
Yep.
And then as we were working with them to figure out which blend, because we've tried Tiger Nebula, we've tried
Dark Nebula, Blackbeard's Revenge.
Blackbeard's Revenge.
Dark Nebula.
There's one other.
There's one other one we tried.
Josh
I can't remember.
had something white.
Yeah, Josh had some
white,
other ones. White Knight.
White Knight.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It was a little bland.
And that's the cool thing.
the
Is like
espresso.
if you get this and you try it and you're like, yeah, this isn't really my flavor coffee. They are awesome about helping you pick. You can get in there. Do they have a chat, or is it just email?
They have a chat.
But their website's so good because like it'll give you all the notes and tell you all the stuff, but literally it shows you a picture of the roasted beans. Like they take a good photo of them, so you can tell a lot for the look of a bean. So having roasted beans ourselves for quite some time, like, you know what you want the roast to look like.
Right.
And so that's super helpful too. And they roast it. Once you pick it, they roast it and put it in a bag and ship it to you. It's amazing.
It is exactly what it says it is. It is fresh roasted
there's
coffee
nothing like
delivered.
getting, which they're on the East Coast and we are kind of on the East Coast, but even if you're on the West Coast, you're going to get coffee that's less than 48 hours roasted.
Yeah. If you're inside a week and it's sealed, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Honestly, sometimes roasting coffee, you want darker roast, you want them to actually sit for a little bit longer. These are good within 2 days.
Don't touch my coffee.
If you, sorry, I was trying to get this guy in here. If you are inclined, we ended up picking up these Airscapes, and highly recommend these. Are they called Airscapes?
Amazing.
Yeah, and they're the same price
Airscape.
that you can buy them elsewhere. It's a little cheaper,
which is
to
crazy.
get them on fresh
Show
roasted
that one off
sites
to the camera over here.
So versus what you get it on Amazon unbranded. These are actually, because I got my dad one of these for Christmas or Father's Day.
Father's Day.
I got him a little bit smaller version of this, and I paid the same amount for the smaller version with no fresh roasted coffee, because he doesn't know anything about fresh roast. I mean, I buy him fresh roasted coffee, and not enough to have a logo on it necessarily. But I mean, it's not, you're not paying an upcharge for the print on the outside, even though it looks sweet.
But nice
and matches the mug.
vacuum seal kind of canister.
Yeah, it's kind of got the. Let's see if I can do this. It's got the lid on the inside that's vented, and pull this up so if you're not watching, hear that?
You have to watch.
Yep.
So if you're not watching, you need to watch so you can see this. But the lid part, obviously, is
it smells so. You smell it,
Yeah.
all around the edge. But then there's a vent right in the center that gets closed whenever the lid closes down. And so as you're pushing this down over your beans, all that coffee smell comes out, which is lovely. And then once it's all the way down, you know that you've gotten all the air out. Push your handle down. It's sealed. This is just on here for looks, basically.
You're gonna keep
so just so you know, if
keep
you're
'em nice and
just
fresh.
getting started with coffee and you want to try out whole bean or whatever, I mean, I guess this would technically work if you had ground coffee too. As far
It
as
would.
sealing it.
Yeah, just in
But,
general, ground coffee.
So the two enemies of fresh coffee are air and moisture. So you want to keep those two things out. This will keep as much of the air out as you can get.
Right.
Don't refrigerate it, regardless of what
don't do that.
your grandfather told you. Don't refrigerate your coffee. But this, like we did the whole mason jar thing.
Yeah.
And it worked great. It's just a
I feel
pain.
like this is doing just as well.
This is doing just as well. We're getting to the end of each
still-
canister, and they're
solid.
spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we end up fitting a 5-pound bag into 2 of these.
Yeah.
But if you were to buy the 2-pound, it's technically a 2-pound. It gives you plenty of room on the top to press that air out. So if you bought the 2-pound bag, it would fit perfectly
perfect.
into one of those things.
Yep.
Pretty awesome.
Just-
and there's a lot of science behind how to deal with air and coffee and all that stuff. But as
It's just
Gabe was saying, like when you grind it, if you buy it ground, just know that even if you have an air escape,
It's gonna lose
it's going to
its
stale
freshness.
faster
Yeah.
just because there's more surface area to get in touch with the air. That's just the way science works.
And
So-
and it doesn't hurt that they just look amazing. I mean,
It's cool. Nice little presentation on the counter or something if you had that sitting out. Just super excited about these bags. These are only available on our site. You cannot get these bags over on freshroastedcoffee.com. So if you want these, you need to go to chromeunbox.com/coffee, and you can on that page. There's a landing page there. You'll see the cart down there, and you'll be able to check out there. If you are a first-time purchaser of fresh roasted coffee, there will be a unboxed discount code that's automatically applied,
Which is awesome.
Which is dope. I love that they figured out how to do that. And so that'll get automatically applied. If you've purchased before, as soon as you sign in, it's gonna go away. But just really excited about this awesome collaboration, and we have our logo on a bag of coffee, which is just
it's
cool.
been perfect because we've for years talked about doing something like this. Robbie used to roast our coffee for us. We talked about bagging our own coffee, and I mean the logistics of that is
It's a lot.
It's a lot. I mean that would be a full-time job in and of itself. And then trying to do this with some other companies that do like white label branding and stuff, it wasn't.
Yeah,
it wasn't good. It wasn't going to be good for us, and it's not about us making any money. It was a pain to get that stuff done. Fresh roasted coffee has gone above and beyond to help us get what we
shout out to them because we originally kind of pitched some ideas about how we could partner with them for the Chromecast, and just kind of been collaborating with them and working back and forth. And I'd kind of thrown out a custom bag idea and. Just had to work through all the details and the logistics of it.
Yeah, it's not something they've not done this.
Yeah, they haven't done this before. We're kind of testing it out with them. If this is something that ends up working well, they might offer this up for some other folks to do. But for right now, we have a custom label, and I think we're maybe the only ones doing that. And it's just really cool. So shout out to them for being awesome and for supporting us.
And part of the reason too that we've kind of waited to do this and wanted to do it right is like of all the things that we're pretty particular about, like we get particular about shirts or whatever, and sure we're particular about our content obviously, but I would say right up there next to that, I'm very particular. We're all very particular about coffee,
golf and coffee.
It's not just my particularness is on full display when it comes to coffee. I'm particular about golf clubs or whatever, but to a point. Like I'm like, I don't have the best golf clubs ever made. And I don't have to have the best golf ball, and I don't have to have the best headphones, even though I'm particular about some of those things. Sure. I don't have like all these things, but maybe when it comes to coffee, I don't budge too much. Like I'll tolerate if I'm on the road or something, I'll tolerate whatever I got to tolerate. But when it comes down to like what we're gonna have here on a daily basis, we just weren't ready to go and ink some
Advocate,
deal with
yeah.
some bean where we're like,
Right.
they're going to get this and it's just going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like we wanted to make sure it was something awesome. And I remember just being tired of roasting. Like that's
my
what led
gosh.
us to roasting. It was,
Right.
I was so particular about coffee
We're
that
like,
hey, I
the
can
only way
control
we're going to
this
be able to
part.
have
Yeah.
the coffee we want is
It
to
was
roast
fresh,
it.
fresh and roasted right. You know, is to do it ourselves.
Yep.
And so I remember just kind of getting tired of having to roast. And I was like, I just wonder who does this online.
Yeah.
If there's anybody
Typed
that
in
does this,
fresh roasted
I literally-
coffee.
yeah, and they came up, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I was like, that seems too on the nose. Like this is
Yeah.
probably going to be like.
Because I've had some. Yeah, I've
Oh,
done.
there's all these places that
Yeah.
do orders. Blue Bottle was one of the
Blue
ones that
Bottles,
got
yeah,
me
Blue Bottles
thinking.
coffee is good, but I found one that is kind of like a what was that? What was that one coffee company we did
like a
years
club,
ago?
Yeah.
basically.
Well, it wasn't Javalia. Was it Javalia?
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah,
Javalia
so,
did it.
but then there was one like a couple of years ago I did, and they would send you smaller bags of whole bean, and literally every one I got tasted like either battery acid
Or dirt and ashtray.
or dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, you can't, if that's your only thing that you're doing, you can't do that.
And the problem is a lot of those places, like they'll end up sending you this stuff. Like, you know, you go through the aisle at what are some of the stores that like Marshall's or what's the other
TJ
one?
Maxx.
TJ Maxx.
Yeah.
And they got like random bags of coffee that have
Oh, yeah,
exotic
home
looking
goods.
bags
Yeah.
or whatever, and you pick it up and like, oh, look at this. And they're all terrible. I mean, they've been sitting there for 6 or 8 months or whatever.
My mother-in-law buys those.
Oh, so gross.
she loves them.
So disgusting.
Just
she loves them.
garbage coffee.
She's like, the ashier the better. I'm like, okay.
I want my coffee to taste like the bottom of an ashtray.
I'm getting ready to go clean out my smoker.
Yeah, you
I got you covered.
Well, just bottle it and you just put it in your coffee.
put this in your coffee as your creamer.
Traeger brand. There you
Yeah,
go.
Traeger.
They have their own bourbon. Maybe they should make their own coffee.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, like I mean, that was kind of the issue. Is like these mail order, and I don't want to throw Blue Bottle into that because Blue Bottle sent great stuff.
That
They're
was
just
good.
cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
they're
like
not.
$25 a bag or
Yeah.
Right.
something. And then like the coffee shop here locally, they were selling fresh roasted beans like within a week. They had
Which
a
they
date on
were
them.
they were rebranding from.
They still do from
local-
Synagogue up in Louisville.
But weren't they doing-
But
they
then
were selling
before that,
hardened
they were
stuff.
selling hardened
Yeah.
coffee. But sometimes it would be 3
Yeah.
or 4 weeks old.
Right.
But that was cost prohibitive too. It was
Yeah,
like
very
20
expensive.
to $25 for a 12-ounce bag of coffee is crazy
Yeah,
expensive.
that's
So
dumb.
that's what pushed us to roasting. And I was like, well, I might as well just look because maybe there's somebody out there doing something that's at least reasonable because we were paying I think $4 or something a pound for green coffee and then roasting it. So it's like whatever my time's worth. That's what we're
And your
that's
loss
what we're at.
is 25%.
Yeah, so you roast a pound, get 3/4 pound. That's most times why you get a 12-ounce
Right.
bag of coffee. They're roasting a pound of green coffee to get 12 ounces. And so, yeah, when you started looking at, okay, well, then if I have that much in it plus my time for 12 ounces for that bag of coffee, and then I went and looked at fresh roasted and I saw their prices, and I'm like,
Whoa.
there's no way.
Whoa, hold
There's
on here.
No way.
Yeah.
Like
It's all
this
about
ends up-
volume, baby.
It's a tad bit cheaper than we're paying for green beans, and I would have no labor. We just get it. So I remember we tried one bag.
Yeah.
Like let's just get one
We
bag
got
and
we got
see.
Tiger Nebula first.
Yeah, and we got it and tried it. Like it came in and we smelled like you can tell if
Yeah.
you know fresh
yeah.
coffee. We opened it up and like, oh, yep, that is as fresh as can be.
And
it was roasted 2 days prior to us getting it. We brewed it, loved it, and I retired this. I don't even know where is the roaster.
I think, did somebody
Greg
take
took
it?
Did Greg
Greg
took
took
Greg
it.
took it to fix it. Or
Did he
something.
buy out our portion of it?
I don't know.
That never happened,
No.
did it?
Mm-mm.
Probably
No.
not.
And
I
that's
want
the-
my money back,
and
man.
and that's the thing. Robbie's talking about how we are particular about certain things, and we are, but we're particular about anything related to what we do here because we never want to present anything to you all, our readers and our followers, that we ourselves don't. We've
Right.
done merch in the past where we got them in and we're like, these cups look like garbage, or the print's
Yep.
not good. We've done We've done so many different T-shirts where the print wasn't, because we're particular about that stuff.
Right.
There's nothing worse than buying because you're spending $20 on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than buying a T-shirt
Yeah.
and then 2 weeks later the print's starting to peel off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
we want to give
we-
you all something that we ourselves would go buy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that we do. We buy a lot of this.
A
Yeah.
lot every
every
month.
5 pounds.
5 pounds.
shows up every
Yep.
month. We got some sitting in there that's getting ready to go into that.
Yep.
I guess we probably need to do that before we open these.
Yeah.
I don't know. We might have to share some of this with some people.
Yeah. Totally.
So that it didn't sit
And
too
honestly,
long.
if you have a coffee lover in your family or someone you know, or you're looking for a gift for the office or something like this, even if you're not a coffee drinker, if you've often thought, hey, I know my friend loves coffee, but I don't know anything about coffee, we're recommending you buy this for them.
Yeah.
They will think that you spent a lot of time and research on getting them a good cup of
and
coffee.
there's I'm like 99% sure there's no price difference. So ordering this one versus the anniversary blend that's on the site, you're just getting our cool logo.
Yeah.
So you need to order through us. So chromabox.com/coffee. Go check it out.
The 12 ounces, 14.
Something like
I
that.
don't
Yeah.
know. Andy can
You
pull it up.
obviously save quite a bit of money if you buy a 2-pound bag,
Yeah.
a 5-pound bag,
And they have their subscription stuff that'll save you a little extra.
Once we factor all that stuff in, the subscription and buying 5 pounds a month, basically with one of those canisters, it's as cheap as buying unroasted coffee.
Right.
It's actually
It's
a little
insane.
cheaper. It's crazy. And it's so good.
It's great stuff.
So good, such a good product. Like it's not like 1 month we get it in, and it's like, oh, that one was
off. Nope, never. It's
one
always
time the bag
excellent.
was ripped, but I feel
And
like
they sent
that
us a new
might have-
one.
Yeah,
They were like,
just
"Oh, sorry.
keep it. Here, we'll send
Yeah.
you another one."
Yep.
They're awesome,
Incredible.
awesome folks.
Yep.
Been
Go
so
check.
happy with them.
Yeah, it's been a great working relationship with them, and this collaboration is just insane. As soon as we got these in, I was so stoked. I mean, our logo's on a bag of coffee. It's what we've always wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
We've made it.
Yeah.
That's what we did all this for.
It.
We've done all this just for that.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
man.
Oh, it's so cool. It's so great. So let's dig into a little bit of news from the week.
Yeah.
Enough coffee talk. We can sit and talk about
Coffee
coffee all
talk.
day. We can talk about coffee all day.
Talk amongst
Talk amongst yeah. We could sit and literally talk about coffee. We could do a whole separate podcast about coffee, probably.
Coffee, golf. Yeah.
Whatever weird thing we're into.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about some Pixel news. So we have last week we talked a little bit about the Notepad, the foldable, and we now have I think last week we talked a little bit about maybe there being another phone, right?
Yeah,
we
yeah.
said like there might
We
be
did
this
talk about
Ultra
that, yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, because this is not the first time this has come up.
Yeah.
But the first time it came up, I was kind of like,
Yeah, it was weird. It was a guy who was reputable. There was a random tweet, and he had an entire thread talking about this previously undiscovered phone that had a different camera sensor, and it has a different code name. It's in the Android Lynx, yeah. And then it was weird because no one really picked that up. But this wasn't just
9 to 5 did do something on it. They were just
Yeah.
kind of like, there's something out there. There's something out there with it's in the Pixel line of phones. It has a different telephoto lens on it. Make whatever you want of that.
Right. And before we get in the details of it, who's to say, because we've talked about chips and Tensor and how, like with Chromebooks and everything, how they'll build stuff off of previous. Who's to say this isn't them, dog fooding the Pixel 8?
It absolutely could be.
Maybe.
It absolutely could be. But there are rumors around it, and it's fun to speculate sometimes. It's fun to sit back and just be like, I don't know, what if?
It's like
what would that be like? That'd be crazy.
They already revealed the 7 and 7 Pro, so we're like, you got to find
What
other
else we
leaks.
gonna do?
Yeah, you got to find some other. We got to find something else to talk about.
Well, I guess let's talk about what there is out there before we speculate on anything. But so there's a new post from. What was the guy's name on Weibo, which is a Chinese social media digital chat station. And so basically saying that there are 2 other flagships being made in China at Foxconn for Google. Google moved their stuff to Vietnam a few years back. So the Pixels have been made in a factory in Vietnam. So that's kind of noteworthy all by itself. But just like we read from 9 to 5 a little bit ago, it's the same screen, but I remember 9 to 5 posting, this is straight off memory, but that it was a different panel, same resolution, same size, same center hole cut, but it was actually different. Like the manufacturer of the panel was different or something, maybe like a little bit brighter. But now they're finding reference to this different telephoto lens. So it is an IMX 787. So the same main sensor, same 50 megapixel main sensor, but if you remember the Pixel 6 and I think the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro will also come with the 7 Pro will come with a the same, I think, 50 megapixel sensor that the 6 Pro has. Maybe some small tweaks or updates, but generally the same. This is a very different one, and the Pixel 7 or 6 Pro and 7 Pro look to be using a Samsung sensor for their cameras. This is a Sony IMX sensor, 64 megapixels, 1/1.3 sensor. I don't know what those numbers mean, to be honest with you.
Andrew?
1/1.3, is that just saying it's aperture?
I mean, it's just a size, 1.3 inch. So it's it's whatever the math is of
that divided by 1.3.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see.
So yeah, it's that it looks to be a better overall telephoto sensor than what is on the other Pixel phones. And it's not so much about like, oh, well, we can look at the stats and know that this one's going to be that much better than that one. It's like, why is there a phone out there with a completely different screen, and not completely different, but a different build of the screen, which if it's being made by Foxconn, that makes a little more sense supply chain wise. And then why would you have a completely different telephoto lens for if you're not going to do something with it? Now, it could be digital chat station.
Oh, his name's not on there though. Okay.
No. So again, these are leaks, grain of salt, all that kind of stuff. Like, dude could just be making stuff up, but it coincides with 9 to 5's other reports of things they found in the Google camera app. So reference to links as this other device, references to this specific camera. So it's not like this guy's just pulling this out of thin air. And then, just the fact that there is another Pixel phone roaming around there that we don't really know anything about.
Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to find this. I hate trying to find stuff that's in old threads. Does that mention the front sensor?
This does not, no.
Okay, because in the original tweet this is from Kuba Wojciechowski, is the guy who had originally said, I've obtained
it's like last week or week before or something like that.
Oh, this has actually been July 25th. So
a couple weeks
he's
ago.
saying the front sensor is an unannounced IMX 712 13 megapixels.
That's right. Yeah. So
you're talking about,
and they're like dual pixel something.
Yeah, which they can use for the face unlock.
Yeah. So I mean, there's some differences here clearly, and so that's what makes it really intriguing. In this same post, this guy also talks about pretty quickly the folding Google phone, which we know Google Notepad is likely going to be the name of that, but the fact that they're saying that it's being developed and made at Foxconn as well. So, then the with the camera changes that are happening, the buzz is kind of starting to go again. Like, are we going to see the Pixel Notepad at the fall event? Like, is it ready now, or are we moving in that direction? We don't know, and we don't know that like there's going to be another Pixel. But it's interesting to start thinking about those things now. It's like, maybe at I/O Google knew, like, hey, we need to go and announce these handful of things that'll appease most people, and it'll get people kind of off the scent for a little bit. And it did. I mean, I wrote a whole article about how they just kind of tamed the whole leak culture.
Yeah, and they continue to do so, very much so.
And so they might have done some of that just because they don't want their stuff to leak, and they want to, have the narrative under their own control. They also might have done it as a smokescreen. Like, it's pay attention to what I'm doing over here so you don't notice what my other hand's doing kind of thing, whatever that saying is. I can't think what it is.
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
I know what you're talking about.
the right hand didn't know what the left hand's doing, whatever. I could see a little bit of that going on. And if so, man,
great move.
Applause.
Yeah.
Like, good job.
It's just misdirection, man.
That'd be
well done. Like, I'm not seeing a company do that.
No.
Yet. They've not used an actual product announcement to shield another product announcement. Like, it's
brilliant.
Brilliant. If that's what they're doing and it worked this well to get them this far with no leaks.
So good
job.
Yeah, I don't know enough about phone manufacturing to know. Like with Chromebooks, like we kind of have a little bit of a a sense of when it's in this phase, we know kind of when it's maybe going to hit. If it's just getting, is this just like a prototyping thing?
It could be.
It
could be a test unit.
If it's getting, if there's something being built at Foxconn, does that mean that the designs are there and they're ready? And
but it's in the repositories
for anything to be at. That's why this tweet's interesting, because there can be stuff in the repositories that they're messing
testing,
with.
yeah.
The fact that they're talking about Foxconn
getting
making this
built, like something's
that's a
getting
different-
manufactured.
This is lab
Yeah.
testing stuff. But if it's a Foxconn and the repository, it seems like this is a device that's on the path to be built.
Yep.
So I just wonder,
How
like,
cool would that be?
because so like with Apple, you have, do they still do the SE?
Yeah.
So you have the SE, which is their like A series.
Yeah.
And they have your standard iPhone. What's the gap between just if I wanted to go buy a standard iPhone and then the iPhone, what is it, Max Pro Res dot
It's just
com?
iPhone,
Yeah, it's
right?
just the Pro. So
Yeah.
you have SE, Mini.
I thought they
the
got rid of the
11
Mini with the last iteration.
Oh, they may have.
I think they
That's
ditched
how
the
long
Mini.
they're
Yeah.
away
So
from
how big
all
is the
those.
gap between the Pro and the next one down? Like performance and
I
specs?
mean, it's not that. It's because there's the Pro Max and then the Pro. So it's a smaller Pro. Yeah.
So it's
I just-
iPhone Pro, iPhone Pro Max.
Yeah, and then the SE.
Right. And that's why I wonder what if Google is because there's distinct differences between the 6 Pro and the 6, but they're not really
Wildly
They're
different.
not wildly
They
different.
are. Like, it's funny because like we've
That's
talked about
true.
this,
They
did some
are,
videos.
depending on how you look at it.
The
but
more I dug into it, I was like, okay, there's quite a few differentiators here
Yeah.
between the two phones. But as you're sitting there saying that, I'm like, back up, think about Samsung as a demographic to go after. Samsung releases the S22,
Yep.
S22 Plus, S22 Ultra. They release 3 phones
Then they have their A series, which is
Yeah.
But that's think of
that's-
those as kind of a
of their
separate thing.
flagships. And if you think about it, the S22 is a very good phone, has most of the features. The S22 Plus has a few extra features. That's the one I had. I think the camera was a little bit different, but the screen's a little better.
Yeah.
Like there are
Better
benefits,
refresh,
and it's
yeah.
a little bit bigger. There's a benefit to going to the larger one a little bit, not huge gains. And then the Ultra has,
Everything.
yeah, it's
and
it's
that's
the
what I
kitchen sink.
wonder if they because and the advantage to that would be because your average consumer that wants a flagship phone is probably going to go in and buy the 21, just the 21 or whatever.
Right.
The people that really know and really want, they're going to get the Ultra. And then if Google can take that method and then take the A series and push it down even further to where it's a $400 phone
Right.
or $349 for that matter.
Right.
And then you have if I can go get a OnePlus 7, not a Pro, not a Pro Ultra, a Pro Max, whatever, just a OnePlus, a Pixel 7. I was looking at the 10 this morning. A Pixel 7, and it's $600 or $700 or whatever, and I know I'm going to get a premium phone. I think they could really.
Yeah.
They might
Well,
be doing it too early. I don't
see
know.
room, but I see room
Yeah.
in it. I really do because if
Samsung wouldn't keep doing it if there wasn't.
exactly,
Yeah.
and the rumor is they're going to keep the Pixel 7 at that. What is the Pixel 6? $599.
$599.
Yeah.
So it's going to stay $599, and then whatever $899 for the Pro. I could see if the Pro's not wildly better, maybe they bring that price down a little bit in the
And then you-
$849 kind of range.
But they do
and then they
$8,000.
allow themselves to have that,
And then you have like a-
$1,100. They can throw everything at it and know that only the diehard people are going to get it, and not feel bad that they didn't have an affordable whatever.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. I mean,
what everyone's moving to.
Samsung, the S whatever Ultra, it's what, 1,200, 1,300. I mean,
yeah, it's an expensive phone.
the people that are going to buy it are going to buy it. Samsung's not selling a boatload of these,
Right.
but
Right.
there are people that are going to buy them, and
they're out there.
People
Yeah.
will bash Google if they make an $1,100 phone, but you know what? If it is competitive with the Samsung Ultras and the Apple,
Right.
People will buy
and
it.
I feel confident
and they
that
feel
with this phone in my hand, I feel confident they could go make a Pixel 7 Ultra and really pull out all stops. Like clearly, they probably had to cut some corners. I mean, the fingerprint scanner could have been better on this. For
Oh, yeah.
instance.
they
You
could
know,
go to what is it,
Ultrasonic.
ultrasonic like Samsung. Yeah.
for the Ultra. It's ultrasonic fingerprint scanner. It's a little bit better front-facing camera. It's got these, whatever the 64 megapixel different sensor on the back that now has 50x zoom or whatever,
Right. Yeah, something crazy.
whatever else it can do with the camera. So it's got extra camera hardware tricks
Yeah.
on board. Maybe a slightly brighter screen.
It's ceramic.
Yeah, that's the other thing. We forgot to say that.
Yeah.
So that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
other part of the rumor right now is that in 9 to 5 it talked about a ceramic build, but when I read it, I didn't realize they were talking about this same tweet. I read it and it was just like, and then maybe the next Pixel will be ceramic, which OnePlus made a ceramic one, didn't they? the OnePlus X or something, wasn't it?
It was
A
the
ceramic?
X, yeah.
It was a random phone.
Yeah.
But there have been a couple ceramic phones, but ceramic's way harder. That hardened ceramic is actually more durable than
Which
glass.
is crazy because in my mind, I think ceramic, you got to treat it like a Fabergé
like a
egg or something.
Yeah, they can harden that ceramic and make it really durable. Charging would go through it just fine. It's just a nicer, a little bit slightly more premium kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they're saying that that's part of this whatever Link's device is. So again, if you add better camera hardware, maybe a upgraded fingerprint scanner, you add bukus of RAM and storage. Make sure that the internals are beefed. It's going to be Tensor 2, but beef up the internal storage, especially right now. By the way, we can talk about this in a second, but I'm seeing all these reports that the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, the newest one that came out, it's still doing the overheating. And
Really?
like even with the OnePlus 10T.
That is one problem I've never had with my Pixel.
No,
Never.
and so it's like that. Time's ripe right now for them to come in with Tensor. Tensor 2 needs to be just a tweak of Tensor.
Yeah.
Like there's plenty of speed here.
Yep.
It doesn't need to go crazy.
Yep.
Keep the throttling down. Anyway, so yeah, you add a ceramic body, better camera,
better selfie camera,
crazy
right?
internals,
Yep.
Improved
Rumor,
selfie camera, improved fingerprint scanner.
Yeah, there you go. That's an Ultra.
What else do you
the
need?
Pro X,
Yeah, I mean,
the Pro XL.
I think they stick
Bring
with
back
Ultra.
XL.
Yes.
The Pro XL.
And then, I think to do this right, though, they've got to figure out how to tame the Pro a little bit.
Sure.
But I think then we start talking about it's a mixture of Samsung's thing because they have the S22, S22 Plus, and the S22 Ultra.
Yeah.
There's a pretty big gap between the 22 Ultra and the 22 Plus.
Sure.
Like the 22 Plus does feel like just a bigger S22 with a couple small extra perks.
And I could see that.
I think it moves more to the Pro being much more in between the regular and the Ultra, kind of like what Apple does. So you have the iPhone,
what if they-
iPhone Pro,
Yeah.
and then the Pro Max. The Pro Max just gets some extra hardware, and it's a larger phone than the Pro. I don't know.
There's something also I still like about having like a phone and then an XL where they are the same phone. There's just a bigger.
I love that too.
Some people, but that deviates from the. Well, they could do both. I guess they could make 4 phones. Who knows? 5 phones.
I just like
All
for
the
whatever
Google
reason the market right now
3.
just has moved away from that.
Well-
like the bigger phones get the more stuff, but they have more room to put stuff in them. It just
makes sense.
Yeah, it makes it easier.
Well, and there's some interesting sales psychology about three options. And I wonder if that's why these phone manufacturers have gone
Moved to this.
3 options.
People
right?
don't like 2 options
No,
because
2
they feel
options
like they're
is weird.
pigeonholed to pick one or the. It's easier to justify having 3 options because there's always going to be one where I can look at it and say, well, this is better than that.
And
if you pick the wrong one out of 2, then you just beat yourself
When
up.
I decided to try the Galaxy phones, I mean, I looked at it that way.
Yeah.
It was I want something better than what the entry level one is, but I don't need all the stuff that Ultra's got.
Whereas if they
That
just had the
Plus
2,
is
you
great.
would have been like, I'll just take the cheaper one for now, just try
Right.
it out, right?
Yeah.
So they got you, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what
That
that's
got me to
why
upgrade.
That's why car manufacturers they usually make 3 trim. I mean, they have their special limited, but there's usually 3 trim levels,
Right.
and most consumers buy the SE.
Yeah.
They buy that.
There you go.
mid-range.
If you're trying to sell something, give folks 3 options.
options.
Boom. Okay,
So
let's.
yeah, that's hopefully
Yeah.
ends up being something. I think it would be cool. I think it'd be a
It'd
neat
be
move,
incredible.
and it'd be also awesome to see hey, that you all did all this over here, and we thought, hey, cool, you showed us everything, and we're going to show up to this, and they had some surprises.
As bad
That'd
as
be awesome.
as bad as they have been in the past.
Yeah.
Oh, you think you know about this? Just wait. No.
Just wait, you actually do.
wait. You actually do know everything. Yeah. If they pulled something off like this, that'd be really cool.
And by the
Be
way,
awesome.
those 3 options honestly won't even matter to me if they're also
Here's the foldable.
Here's the foldable.
give me the fold.
Yeah.
Give me the fold.
I'm
Done.
so in.
Give me the notepad passport.
I'm so in.
And then the Andy Cam doing good stuff over there. Before we head to the break, we have a giveaway running right now. You need to go check it out. He just had a big 10K sign.
Hey.
We are I wrote it out yesterday by accident, but I just wrote we're on the run to 10K, and I was like, oh, that was another thing we did, but I kind of like it.
There you go.
We are heading towards Dan is sprinting towards 10,000 subs.
That's what we need. We need a little thermometer right here for Dan to run.
Oh my gosh, we should do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a new thing. I think it's Motion Array that does it, where you can do your header, what's that called? On YouTube, is it just called your header image?
I don't
Whatever.
know.
The main
big
image on the top of your channel can be dynamic and you can show a progress bar.
Yep.
So we're going to do that.
That's cool.
So we are on the run to 10,000 subscribers on the Chromecast podcast channel. We have two channels on the podcast side. We have our main full episode channel, which is the Chromecast podcast, and then we have the Chromecast podcast clips, which is basically where we take a segment from our longer episodes and just give you those segments. And yeah, so we're going to give away a Lenovo Chromebook Duet 3 as our grand prize when we hit 10,000 subs. But along the way at 5,000, 6,000, 7, 8, and 9, we're going to give away a Lenovo Smart Clock Essential with Alexa built in. So super excited about that. Make sure to click the link in the show notes
And
to
if you're
get entered
hearing
to
that
win.
and you're curious, why are you giving away Alexa smart clock?
That's what they
That's
sent
what
us.
they gave us.
And somebody, I mean, just because you have a Chromebook, doesn't mean that you're totally in the Google
You
ecosystem.
put the Alexa
I mean,
app on
somebody
your
gave
phone.
us if someone gave us a case of iPad minis,
Yeah,
we
we'd
would
give
give
them
them
away.
away. Someone
Exactly.
can use them.
Shout out to Lenovo. I mean, they sent us some cool stuff to give away, and
absolutely.
and we love giving away stuff, so that's what we're doing. So this will kind of be one of those. Just it'll be ongoing until we hit 10,000 subs. We're off to a fantastic start.
Yep.
Everybody who went and subscribed and got entered to win, thank you so much. We love doing this video version of the podcast. We think it adds a whole new element to the episodes. Andy Cam puts in all kinds of fun little Easter eggs and cool things.
Yep.
And
We're
it's
only
just
1,200 from the first giveaway.
that's incredible.
Yeah,
There we go.
We jumped up a lot last
let's,
week. So we
let's
gotta keep pushing.
Let's push this week and get to that first giveaway. And yeah, we're super excited about this. So make sure to check the link in the description to get entered to win. Okay, time for a quick break for an ad, and we'll be right back in a second. Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. We are going to dig in now to a review. So this is one we've been working on for a couple weeks now, and it's a big one. Well, it's at least it's a big one for us. It's a cool device.
Yeah, and
I don't know how many people are going to be that interested
I think
in it.
it's important for the ecosystem. It's
Yeah.
no different
Right.
than treating like the review of the Pixel Book as a big review.
Right.
Like when the Pixel Book first came out, people were like, I don't know, it's $1,000.
Yeah.
6 months later, everybody was like, this thing's amazing.
Yeah, and
You
we
know?
still get emails today of like, "Hey, I found this Pixel Book for like this much. Is it worth buying?" So
Yeah.
obviously,
So
it's moved the needle forward, and that's
Yeah.
what matters.
And I
It's
think this
it's-
device might do that. So the
Yeah.
HP Elite Dragonfly.
I just call it the Dragonfly.
Yeah.
We just call it the Dragonfly.
Why do they throw an Elite in there? I guess that's just that series.
It's their yeah, it basically denotes that it's for enterprise.
Enterprise.
Elitist.
It's geared.
It's an
for-
elitist Chromebook.
Yeah, it could be.
It could be.
It's like I'm the
Probably get
best.
one.
yeah. Andy Cam. That's Andy Cam's Chromebook from now on.
Hey, we're gonna do a video eventually of putting Andy Cam on a Chromebook,
Yeah.
and just letting him, experience it and
Yeah.
and figure out how.
You
it
have a
goes.
yard, don't you? Like you mow and stuff.
I do.
Okay. I won't say the publication, but apparently we're all elitists because we have a yard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll explain that one after the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're elitist.
yeah, because you have grass and you mow. You have a yard.
No, I don't live in.
I know you
urban
don't
area.
mow, but I know.
Or maybe I'm really elitist. I have a yard and I pay someone to mow it.
There's a lot of people in America that have yards. That's very strange.
It's a weird
Okay,
thing
moving
to
on.
say. Anywho.
Moving on. Dragonfly.
So yeah, the Dragonfly is one of those devices that I don't think needs to come along more than probably once a year.
Ooh, if that.
Yeah,
Maybe
even
a
if that,
TikTok almost.
because at this point, I think Chromebooks are getting good enough. The higher end Chromebooks are getting good enough that they do most of the stuff that you want a Chromebook to do, and they leave out one feature here, one feature there. It's like HP decided we're going to make a Chromebook and not do any of that. We're just not going to cut any corners. Overall, like every bit of that Chromebook is a pleasure to use. And the only thing I personally wish they would have changed is to have gone with an aluminum chassis instead of magnesium alloy.
What about the aspect ratio?
I love that.
Is it 3x2? Oh, okay. What
Yeah.
are you using the 16x10?
The 714.
Okay, that's why. Yeah,
It's good.
Okay.
Don't love it as much as 3. I like 3x2.
I still feel like I've been working on the latest Flex lately, and it still just feels awkward to me. It's
Yeah.
just-
Right.
of course, I stare at a 16:9 monitor all day too. So
Yeah, I mean, my big monitors, I think once you get to a certain aspect or size, the aspect ratio is not as big of a deal.
Yeah.
I feel like for smaller screens, they benefit way more from getting a taller aspect ratio.
Yeah.
So, that 13.5 inch 3x2 screen that Acer's done for years now with the 713, I think is people like it for a reason. Like it just feels expansive without, and once you close it down and put it in your bag, it doesn't look expansive. And then you open it, and it's like, wow, I got so much space to do my work. I do love that. And honestly, I mean, I could go down the entire list of specs on the Dragonfly and just be like, yeah, superlative, all of them. Like, it does all that stuff. And without being like the CX-9 was, where it was like, it does have a bunch of specs, but I don't like using it for some reason.
It doesn't come together.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like it does. It's great. Honestly, and this is no knock to the 714, kind of miss, like, we were doing some B-roll for the review, and so I had it back out and was working. I'm like, God, I miss this thing. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's expensive, and so my brain doesn't want me to love it as much as I do.
Right.
But I love it. It's a great Chromebook. And again, the magnesium alloy doesn't feel flimsy, but because the texture of it is a little more plasticky. I'm trying to think.
And it's quite fingerprint.
What else was magnesium alloy?
Samsung Pro when it came out.
And
that's it?
Was
yes.
what's the Pixelbook Go?
A lot of the Surface devices are that.
Yeah.
Was the Pixelbook Go was the magnesium alloy, wasn't it?
It was a mix, but it was more aluminum. It's got a metal. It feels like metal.
Yeah.
I just prefer that. Like, I never minded the C1030, so basically the predecessor to the Dragonfly. I never minded one bit that it was a little more angular and definitely all aluminum. That thing feels solid as a rock. I love it. It's going to be a little heavier. Aluminum's heavier. And I think that's what they were going for, is to try to lighten up the feel of it while keeping kind of a firm chassis. They did that, and that's great. And it doesn't feel cheap by any means. I just prefer, for a device that expensive, I'm like, I just want to feel like it's a slab of metal. I just prefer that. But other than that, I don't think there's anything to complain about with that device.
It's a monumental day, folks. Just if you followed us for any amount of time, and that's not a dig. It's just as we've talked about this as reviewers, we have to point out the shortcomings in devices and to look at a device on the whole and say, there's not really a thing that sticks out.
That's like,
because the aspect ratio,
if only it had
for some people that's subjective, whatever, but there's literally, I remember because it went on sale for a really good price the other day, and I did the spec sheet on it. I'm like, everything on that spec sheet matches what they said it's going to do, and there's nothing to complain about.
Yeah.
Stowable stylus, maybe.
Yeah, that's the other.
Yeah.
And then that's a subjective thing.
Right.
Again,
Some people might love that it's got the pen. It's a full-size pen. I get to actually use it. And I don't have to go buy another one. Yeah.
Like, in using it's nice. And the but the wireless charging is fun. It's a cool little trick that just slaps on the side, and boom, it's charging. Steal it from the iPad. Well done. But I find that, like, when I'm picking up and moving the device a lot, it's still there.
It's kind of in the way.
Yeah, it's not like the magnet's very strong, but it's not strong enough that if you really like are gripping that side of it, that you're not going to push the thing off. As a matter of fact, I did so, and when we were doing some B-roll or something, I fumbled it and dropped it.
It's almost like it's there. You can set up your device, whatever you're doing, whether you're in tablet mode or in clamshell.
It's a place to put it.
It's there. And then you can use it, but then when you're done, it's like, pop it, I'll put it in your bag, and then put the device away.
It did survive, like, if I put it in my bag and thought about it and made sure the pen was facing up, it was fine, but there were times I'd go to grab the Chromebook out, and I'd knock it off, and it'd fall down in my bag. And, like, it is not a permanent home for the pen. It is a place to store it while you're using it, or while you're not using it, but you're kind of in the mode of reaching for it, basically. Right. To me, I don't use a pen enough for that, so it almost felt like a lot of times I just wanted to take it off and set it over to the side because it was just in the way. I didn't say this in the review, but like it's on there solidly, but if you're listening to like the speakers are really nice on this thing. It's got 4 speakers on it, and it has really nice loud sound. If you're listening to it too loud, it vibrates on the side, and it's just like, and sometimes when I was typing, I would hear it, like it would vibrate a little bit. And so those are really small nitpicks, but a stowed stylus to me is still a better option. I think the best version of that will be down the road at some point if somebody like HP. I don't think Acer's done a magnetic pen yet. Has anybody else other than HP? I don't know that anybody else has done a magnetic pen, because HP's done it on quite a few devices now. Like the X360 14Cs all have a spot to take that pen on the side. They didn't charge it, but it'll hold it there.
No, I can't think of a single one.
Their X211 has the recharging, magnetic, and then now the Dragonfly also. There's magnets on the C1030 technically for the stylus as well. It'll snap onto there in place. The best version of that would be include the magnets. Don't worry about the charging necessarily. It could be a pen, because once you charge up a USI pen, honestly, it's going to work for weeks
Yeah.
on end. It's like, I don't need to charge it all the time. But, you know, like the C1030, give me a spot for it to place while I'm working with it. I keep it in my bag, whatever, it's rechargeable. But then include the smaller stowable stylus that's good for quick notes.
That's my thing. Because I'm
that.
like, I don't use a stylus. If I did, I would want a stowable one. But also on the flip side, if I used a stylus regularly, like I was an artist or something, I want a full-size pen.
Right.
My thought goes to, and you would have to have a thicker device to do this, but HP has that one EDU device that has a tray that it pops into.
Yeah.
Maybe you go with a stylus that's kind of in between the size of the regular stowable and the full size one, and it just drops in there. It pops in, it charges, it's out of the way when you're not using it, and you don't have to worry about it getting knocked off when it's in your bag.
If you can't find a picture, if you're looking for that, maybe Andy Cam will find it. He can throw up both of these. So there's the picture of the HP. I think that was Drawcia was the code name of that device. Yeah. But then there's Surface Pro X, one of the first ones they made with ARM chips in it. That was super thin, black, really sweet looking device. It performed terribly. I remember Dieter smashed it, but it did the case, the detachable case, and when it flipped up, it had the pen in there, so he popped it down, and the pen was stowed in that. It was pretty dope. That was the original use case of that type of pen storage. It was really smart. Granted, that one, because it's in a keyboard case, it was like a flat stylus, almost like more like a carpenter pencil. But yeah, something in that vein I think would be really neat. But again, those are subjective things. Like, you can't knock a device for it's got a wireless recharging USI pen that magnetically attaches to the side and keeps itself charged and works really well. Like, that's not a knock.
It's pretty high speed.
Yeah. I mean, we're picking nits here. So yeah, I mean, if it was all aluminum, like the C1030, I go back to it sometimes. Sure. I prefer that build. But God, the keyboard on the Dragonfly is so exceptional. The only keyboard I can remember just fawning over this much and enjoying typing on this much is the Pixelbook Go. I'd put them right there. I might think the Elite might be better, or the Dragonfly might be better, just because I feel like the key spacing is a little tighter. I don't know. There's something about it. It's fantastic to type on. And then you've got the haptic trackpad, which is awesome. I know that probably in, 700 and up devices are the only ones going to get something like this, because I'm sure it's not cheap to add that in. But my God, I love that. I love knowing that every time I go to that Chromebook, I'm never have to worry about, because I've had Chromebooks that were good for a little while and then loosened up, and then the trackpad was a little floppy or whatever.
Something weird, yeah.
To their credit, HP's always made good trackpads, even on their cheaper devices. They've been, the quality control on them is pretty good. And like Acer's been doing just great work on their trackpads. Like, you get a device in, like the 513's trackpad, the one that we have anyway, so good. It's just so good. And so I'm not terribly worried about like lower end devices. If they're going to keep making trackpads nice and tight and make sure that they're not flopping all over the place, a haptic trackpad's not necessary. It's just nice.
And it should be a premium feature, simply because if you've ever used a cheap phone with bad haptics in it, you don't want a cheap Chromebook that's already cheap and then it's got bad haptics, because you're not talking about using a phone. You're talking about trying to do stuff with the trackpad.
Yeah.
And
so it needs to be good.
Keep it in the higher end.
Yeah. And you are getting some, added benefits of being able to control kind of your press.
Yeah. So do you like a light click, or do you like that nice big firm click?
Yeah.
Well, cool. You can just change it.
And then
you can click anywhere on the surface.
Right. Click in the corner. Click up here. Click down here.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. And then like the swiping, the extra little bump you get.
Yeah. You move between your displays, your virtual desk. You feel it.
It's nice. Nice little touch.
When you drag the window to either side, you get just a little bump. And those haptics are just, they're nice. They're nice to have. It's nice to know that trackpad's always going to behave the same way. It's solid feeling. Like, it's really cool touch. Versus, again, I don't want to dig at Asus, but like in the CX-9, it has the little number pad that popped up. Well, cool trick.
Yeah.
But that was like a parlor trick. This thing is.
How often did you use it?
Never use it.
This trackpad, like, this isn't a trick. This is awesome. And again, I give Apple credit where credit's due. Apple did this 6 years ago,
Yep.
and started doing this. And I remember the first time I encountered one of these. I went to an Apple store to see it.
Turn off the device and click it.
Yeah. Nobody was around. I'm like, turn it
Yep,
off. And I'm
yep.
pushing on it. It feels like I'm pushing on this table.
It's incredible.
And turn it on, and I'm like, that feels like it's clicking. Because I read the whole MIT paper of the lady that came up with this idea.
Your brain is like,
I'm like,
oh, it's clicking.
it doesn't matter. Like, I know it's not moving, and I can't convince my brain that it's not moving. And while I would say at this point, I feel like Apple's version of that haptic trackpad is a little bit better. I feel like it's a little more, like, it'll fool your mind even more. I think that HP's on this one is excellent. It's like if Apple's 10 out of 10 on doing this, and they've been doing it for many years, HP's 9 out of 10 here. It's still very good.
I'm assuming they have some Windows devices that have
know.
had haptics.
I'm not
I
sure.
don't know. We need to look that up and see.
Interesting.
But
I don't know of any devices, period, other than Apple. That
No,
have-
like this is the
Oh,
first one
dang.
I've ever heard of.
It's
It's
very, very
Oh, wow.
new. That's
I
what
was
was
just
so
assuming
amazing.
Windows already
That's
had
what was
it.
so amazing about the
when they announced it, I was
Dragonfly
like,
is that
what?
HP had actually taken a hiatus from the Dragonfly line for a year. There hadn't been a Windows device in a year. They came back out when they announced the new Windows device. The Chromebook actually was the headliner of that show, and it's like, we are making an Elite Dragonfly Chromebook, and it's got all this stuff.
All the
And by the
things.
way, here's a Windows device.
Yeah.
It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, again, like the review's long, and it's in detail because a lot of Chromebooks you can just be like, yep, and then, it's got a 720p webcam, and then the bezel's like, we got to stop talking about the webcam on this one because it's 5 megapixels, but that's not really the headliner. Like, they went and did some extra work with Google. Like, they partnered with every Chromebook maker partners with Google for every Chromebook. In case you don't know that. But this was a very deep collaboration to the point where, remember, Google put out, I think on their Instagram, like Made by Google, put out a thing with the HP on there, almost like people were like, "What is this, a new
new Pixel book?"
No, like that's how close this collaboration is.
Right.
Like,
It was like the OG Samsung that was like, you know,
Like, hey,
Google's
this is-
behind this 100%.
right,
you know?
they're really working on stuff, and it's got special little things in it because they took the time to go, "Hey Google, how can we want to do this with this
Right.
device? How do we do it?"
Right.
One of those is the webcam, and so instead of just being a small little like, oh, it's got a little bit better webcam, and Acer's been doing some stuff with temporal noise reduction. That's helping.
They look good.
They're looking better. The lighting is a little better, but the bar is as low as it gets when we talk about Chromebook webcams.
Oh, yeah.
They're terrible. And so Acer's, it's a nice step up. This is like a completely different thing with the Dragonfly. Like the 5 megapixel sensor here is fine. I'm sure the hardware is good, but they've really worked with some software tweaks to make sure that this thing adapts to your environment, so that if you have a window behind you or whatever, like it's doing the same stuff like Pixel phones are doing, where it's really thinking through how to expose all of this stuff and keep you looking good. Like, I love getting in video calls with that Chromebook.
Right.
It's like, it looks so
And that's what's crazy,
good.
because like most of us who have had to do remote work and all that stuff probably went out and bought a $40, $50, $60 webcam because it was just good enough and it was much better than what was on your Chromebook. But now you're talking about a webcam on a Chromebook that's better than your average Best Buy webcam,
yeah,
and you don't
by
have
far.
to worry about the extra hardware. you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, it's one of the best, especially for like calls and stuff like that. It's one of the best I've ever used. Like,
Yeah.
it just looks so good,
And it's like white balance and stuff is excellent too.
it just looks really good.
Yeah, like the Macs tend to have a pretty
real
pretty warm look.
Like, it's very yellowy.
Yeah, and they look great, obviously, but this Dragonfly, I think,
I love
think
the way it looks.
looks maybe a little better than
Yeah.
the Mac. I don't know. We haven't really put them side by side necessarily. Might
kinda-
try that.
might be
try
a
that.
fun little video to
Yeah,
do.
we should do that. There we go.
Write
We're
that down.
figuring out stuff as we're chatting. Here. Write that down.
So yeah, I'm just kind of working my way around this thing. So
Yeah.
again, like with the chassis, the magnesium alloy, while I don't love it, I love the fact that every bit of this device is made from the same material. There's no like, oh, well, this part's this and that part's this. Like, it's all one thing,
Yep.
and it all has the same color and feel.
And-
like, even the fan port on around the back looks awesome.
Yeah, 'cause
It's-
there's nothing worse than getting a device that has like a really good lid and it's aluminum, but then you grab the keyboard and it's
Like,
all torquey because
yeah.
it's half plastic and you don't know what it is on the bottom.
this is
Yeah.
all one thing. And then
Connectivity, no limitations there.
No, you got all the latest Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.2. Didn't run into any issues pairing up stuff.
Do they have an LTE version of that device? They do.
The one we have is.
It is. Okay.
It's thin and it still has an HDMI port.
Yeah. So yeah.
It's like amazing.
Again, if I'm picking nits, if you're buying this to throw it in tablet mode a lot, It's just like most other Chromebooks, because
Weird gap.
when you close a Chromebook up, you kind of want it to curve, close, so that when it's sitting on the table, it looks a little thinner.
Yeah.
It's just the way laptops are. They kind of curve towards the place where they close up. Well, when you flip that around, I've said this many times, it looks like the tail ends of a loaf of bread flipped on and trying to make a sandwich out of it. The curves go away from each other, and it does make for a kind of an uncomfortable holding situation. The only like one-handed hold, you need to hold it where the hinge is, not where the two ends come together, because it's there's a gap. It's weird. It feels like you're going to bend or pinch something. The only two devices pulled this off really well and were never a problem. The Pixelbook was perfect for this. Like, as long as you got over the keyboard part of it being on the back, like, it felt very tabletish. Like, it felt like it was purpose built to be a convertible. And then the Samsung Galaxy Chromebook was great.
Yeah, because they're perfectly square.
Except it was 16 by 9, so it's super awkward. And it had a huge bezel on one side.
Yeah. The 5400 is not bad. It's not bad. The corners are rounded, but it has a more symmetrical size, so it actually creates a tablet.
And I like boxy looking devices.
I like
the fact that Apple's moved that direction with Macs.
Yeah,
they've gotten rid of all the sloping and all that stuff. Acer's kind of moving that way with some of their newer Chromebooks. They're getting getting rid of the swoops. And
the old the C302 that we took to Vegas. I love that. It's like square. I love the way it looks.
The original Chromebook Pixels, just they're blocks. I love it. Like, they look great still. Like, it's not like, that was cool 10 years ago. Like, it looks awesome. And the original Pixelbook still looks amazing. Like, you pick one of those up and it still looks beautiful. So that's another little if you're planning on, like, hey, I'm going to have this thing in tablet mode, like, half the time, like, it's something you need to think about.
Sure.
I just don't tend to use it that way, or I'll put it in presentation mode, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
The bezels are under control, so there's not a huge bottom bezel, even though it's convertible, which is nice. The speakers, it's got two top upward-facing speakers above the keyboard, and then two like down the front that face out. Great immersive sound. Not as full still. I keep waiting for the device that's going to come along that I'm like, better than Pixelbook Go.
It's wild.
Here we are coming up on the second half, or in the second half of 2022, and a device announced in 2019 is still
I don't know how in the heck they did it on that device. I'd love for them to
why
tell
they
us.
didn't advertise the snot out of that. Like, hey, you want to hear something? Listen to this thing.
Yeah.
Like
this super
thin
device.
Macs have good
incredible.
speakers, but I would put the Pixelbook Go, the little 13-inch Pixelbook Go, up against the MacBook Pro speakers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And there are parts of the sound of those speakers I would still like better than the MacBook Pros that has plenty more room for bigger speakers. I don't know. It's voodoo magic. They did the same thing kind of with the Slate. The Slate's got amazing speakers
Slate.
too. Who knows? They figured that out because the Pixelbook has terrible speakers.
Which is weird because it's not fanned either. You would think you've got that
they
extra.
Came up through the keyboard for the Pixelbook, and it just
which they kind of touted that for a little bit. I'm like, y'all should not have pointed that out.
Well, they did it well with the 2015 Chromebook Pixel. They were up through the keyboard, and it was pretty good. So the speakers are good, though. It's not like, they're okay. Like, they're very good speakers.
Yeah.
They're just not quite as like full and rich as the Pixelbook Go. But the sound is really immersive, which is really nice. And while we're talking speakers, the two mics on the top are positioned on the top of the upper part, so you can actually they record 360. So you can, if you have to get up and move around your Chromebook for something while you're in a meeting, it's not going to sound like like it's not going to have that sound. You're just going to sound like again, it's just like one feature after feature after feature. Like the keyboard's set up, it's got some extra keys on the top. He's got all the new keys that we like the screen record buttons there and all that stuff. But they added a mic mute switch right there.
Nice little touch.
It is. Again, you're going to be in meetings a lot. Have these things at your disposal. So we tested it. Instead of turning them off on the software that you're using, whether it's Meet or Zoom or whatever, it's hardware basically. You click it, my mic is off, and you get a little toast notification. You got a toggle at the top to turn your camera off, so you can know those things are muted. And not
they
have
went
to worry
back to
about
the hardware switch.
Yeah, just a slider.
Yeah,
which I think's smart because you can see it. Like I can see that thing's off.
Yeah.
And then there's the additional just keyboard backlight switch on there, which. It's okay.
Yeah,
I don't know that that's necessary, but you can still do alt brightness to turn your keyboard brightness up and down. There's just one button to turn them all off, turn them all on
or off. Yeah,
whatever. That's kind of cool. fingerprint scanner that works just as well. Why we moved away from capacitive fingerprint scanners on phones and stuff, I just don't understand. Like, they're so good and so fast and so cheap at this point. Like, I register my fingerprint, it takes 10 seconds, and I walk up to that Chromebook and just bloop,
good to go.
Like, and so find a spot to put it on my phone. Like, I don't
power button.
I know it's really futuristic for the fingerprint scanner to be on here, but just put it up here in the camera array if you want. Put it on the power button. Put it somewhere.
Yes,
hardware.
put
That way
it on the power button, please.
Yeah,
I
power
love
with
button.
your thumb.
Yep.
Like,
Boom.
I register this finger, I register that one, and then when I go to power it on, doop,
Yeah.
I'm logged in. Like, it's so simple.
Like, that's what I find.
love
Yeah,
that. The Fold 3 has that.
Yeah,
It
I've
was
finally
like, it's
adopted
great.
the pin for my Chromebook, but I'm back on the CX9 now, so it's just fingerprint scanner every time.
And they're cheap. So fingerprint scanners, if you all are listening out there,
Yeah.
if you're building a
Put it
Chromebook over $400, put a fingerprint scanner on the thing.
Put it
please.
on there. Yeah.
They're not expensive. We know. We've looked them up. They're very, very cheap. And
You
the
can buy a
code
USB one for like $19.
and the code's already there. We still need to test that.
Yep.
See if we can buy a third-party one. Stick
Oh,
it in
yeah,
there, see
we
if
should.
it works.
Yeah.
Anywho,
We're coming up with all kinds of ideas here.
You know,
This is
so, I
productive.
mean-
This is a productive podcast.
so if you mentally picture, this is kind of how I picture when I think about reviews. I picture the Chromebook and I start thinking from the top down. I mean, you got interesting things going on with the mic, interesting thing going on with the camera, very interesting things. We didn't even talk about that. The screen is Quad HD now, so it's that same Acer 2256 by 1504 3x2 QHD.
just looks.
It's gorgeous.
Perfect.
It's got great
It's great.
colors, super bright, 400 nits.
Look at it from completely off angle on the very edge side to where you
Yeah.
can barely see the screen. It still looks good.
It's a beautiful display. And they've got options if you want to pay, like $8,000 or something.
It's not really.
HP's pricing on their website for this device is out of control, except for the one that they've already pre-configured with the i3. But if you want to pay extra and like get it in Christmas or something, they have the SureView. It's a 1,000 nit screen, but it also has a digital thing where it can basically block people from seeing it from off angle. If you're into that, or if your business needs that, you got people that are flying.
Yeah, I mean
on
that's
buses
that's a
lot.
big thing. I mean, because HP's had SureView for years
Yeah.
on the Windows devices, and we had them at the car dealership I worked at. Just because
it's
there's
got
so
like the
much sensitive
C1030
data.
had the option for that. The one we have doesn't have that.
Never
but
actually seen it in action on a Chromebook.
I've not. No, I've seen it on a Windows device,
Yeah.
and I'm assuming it's the exact same thing.
Tell
but it's-
HP to send us one.
Yeah, but it makes for the screen not looking so great. It definitely diminishes like the overall look of your screen.
Yeah.
So I would only go for that if you absolutely need that.
Just buy one of the little. that
Yeah, you
stick
can
on.
buy the stick-on things. It's basically a parallax screen protector that blocks the light moving out, in these directions. It basically undoes the IPS of the IPS panel. it undoes the switching of the in-plane switching. So it just
Reverse.
shoots those light particles out just straightforward. So yeah, as you're moving down, like you got build quality, yeah, awesome. The microphone's awesome. Webcam, amazing. Screen, gorgeous. Speakers, really good. Backlit keyboard, that's fantastic. Haptic trackpad, that's awesome. Fingerprint scanner. You have a pen that attaches wirelessly. It's got a convertible form factor. It's got crazy internals, all kinds of different spec, but it's 12th gen Intel Alder Lake, and there's all these different specs. The one Gabe was talking about that's on sale is it was $869. I don't know if it's still on sale or not.
Yeah.
But that was the Core i3. We have yet to have a Core i3 12th gen device in the office. Hopefully, one of them will come with that soon, because I want to be able to test it. But I've looked at benchmarks, and it's not a far cry from the i5 as far as just raw performance, multi-core scores, all that kind of stuff. You will lose the GPU upgrade you get with the i5 and i7. So if you're buying it and going, hey, whenever Steam games do roll out later this year, hopefully, or early next year, I'm gonna get me some Steam games going.
And that's the only obstacle. If you're zero interest in actually legitimately playing Steam games on your Chromebook, the 12th gen Core i3 is going to be a monster. I mean, the 11th gen that's in the HP 14, it's a monster.
The 10th gen.
Yeah, I mean, there you go.
In a lot of Chromebooks, is still
That
the
we stop
i5
there.
now.
We don't go back to 8th gen.
Yeah, 8th gen is
They're
just
man.
connectivity. You run into some issues there. 10th gen solved most of that stuff, and it's like I could go pick up the C1030 or
Yeah.
1030 C1030 Elite HP and work from it and not
Oh yeah.
shrug my shoulders. Like, it's fine. Like, we've reached that area where extra speed on a Chromebook is really necessary. Now, if you're running some of these companies are going to need to be running like Parallels, Windows, and all that stuff that's going to tax processors. Cool. We have video editing coming. There's other use cases that once they arrive, we'll again be able to start going, okay, if you're going to do this, you need this.
You need the 12th gen for that.
At the current moment with what you can do on a Chromebook, you don't need all of that horsepower necessarily, but you have options up to 32 gigs of RAM, options up to a half terabyte. No, does it go to a full terabyte?
I think it's still half. I think it's half
terabyte NVMe storage, so speed is a non-issue. Connectivity is amazing. I'm like, again, so you start seeing why I'm like, don't have a whole lot negative to say about this thing. And then you come to the price, and it's expensive, but when you throw the kitchen sink at stuff, it gets expensive.
Right.
Like, you think a haptic trackpad's cheap? These, we've talked intimately with the folks at Bridge when they were building a keyboard for Chrome OS, and it didn't pan out so well for them, and how all that stuff went, and they've shifted and done other stuff. But when we were talking with them about it, like, he was explaining to us like how much price goes into the keyframe, like, and they had to choose a different keyframe to keep the price of this thing reasonable, their keyboard. And so it's not like, oh well, they could have went with this really nice keyframe and it would be like $2 more. No, that's not how that works. No. Those are expensive pieces. That haptic trackpad is expensive. That better camera is expensive. The R&D it took to work with Google to make the camera work that way cost money on the front end that they would like to recoup when they sell these things. The processor inside is expensive. NVMe storage is expensive. This speaker array is expensive. That type of screen is expensive. Like, magnesium alloy and building a chassis that looks good and feels good is expensive. Like, all of this stuff to just keep piling it up, and then get upset about the fact that it costs $1,000. Like, it's silliness. Like, when you look at this same spec Chromebook as the Windows counterpart, the convertible one, they start at like $2,000.
Yeah.
Start at $2,000. And the Chromebook, at least you can get, again, even if it's not on sale, I think it's $1,149 is its MSRP.
$1,049 or $1,149
for the i3 128 or no 8256, I think.
But when it went on sale for $870, you're talking about less than $100 more than the latest Acer Spin, whatever that is, and a decidedly better device. The Spin's awesome for $799. Sure. It's a good device for $799, but for $870 for the i3 HP. All day long.
Yeah. And you talked about this in your wrap-up of the review, but this is a device for the person that says, I'm in. Like, Chrome OS is my operating system. Yeah. I can do everything that I want to do on this device, and now I want to go get a premium Chromebook.
Right.
That's this.
Yeah, and that's who this is for.
Right. And for everyone else out there that, doesn't maybe want to spend this much money or thinks that Chrome OS isn't capable enough or justified to cost this much, well, then it's just maybe not your thing.
Right.
Go get a $400
like
device.
You said,
There's
if you
a lot
live,
of great ones.
Yeah, if you live in the ecosystem. I mean, we are Chrome OS all day long. We have been for years, and I'm not going to work on a $300 device.
No, sure. I don't want to.
We live inside this too much. I want to work on a nice device. It's why I'm not being bougie, but
and
I'm bougie.
Yeah.
I used it right.
Bougie.
But I'm not, I don't want a budget model phone if I can have something that's
right.
Really
it goes
good.
back. We were talking about the Pixel Ultra, the Pixel 7 Ultra. It's the same mentality. Like, you've got to push the envelope at the ends in order to make the middle have more room for everything else. Like, and so if the best Chromebook you could buy right now was a $700, Acer Chromebook Spin 714 or whatever, then that's it. That's the envelope. And so now your affordable Chromebook now has to be like $200, $300, versus now you've pushed the envelope up here and gone, hey, if we throw the kitchen sink at a device, like, this has everything. What else do you want in a Chromebook? I can't really think, other than the subjective things that we talked about.
Face unlock.
Yeah,
that's a software thing, though. That's not
on hardware.
The
camera's got to be good enough.
But Google hasn't signed off on face unlock yet.
Right. And so, I mean, there's some couple little things we could see in an iteration moving forward, but we've gotten to like this peak Chromebook kind of feel, just about. Like, there's not too many more things in the convertible form factor they're going to be able to cram in here.
Yep.
And we're still in that $1,000 price range. Like, don't forget what a MacBook costs. Don't forget what a nice, like, people want to buy Windows for $600, a Windows laptop for $600. And tell me how the experience of using that thing goes. Also, tell me about how the build quality is, and do you have all the features that this HP does? Well, no, but I can install such and such. Okay, if that's your use case and that's what you need,
go ahead.
Go for Windows.
'Cause honestly,
this, again, is for people that know Chrome OS does what they want, and they want it faster, better, and smoother than you get with a cheap device.
Because that Windows laptop over there, I know you didn't pay retail for it, but what was retail on that?
Oh, $1,200.
$1,200.
I think I got it. Well, no. It was right at 1,000, I think, and I got it. I bought it for like $650, $700.
And it's a decent laptop. It does what we need it to do.
Yeah.
But could it be a lot better?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean you can go to Best Buy right now and buy a laptop for $3,200, and it's still not going to be the best thing on the market.
No,
it's not. It's just. Yeah. And then next week they're going to come out with a new graphics card.
Complete sidebar, by the way. Next time you're in Best Buy, they've got the new Yoga, the Lenovo Yoga Windows. They really went in a different direction with it. It is absolutely stunning.
Really?
Anywho,
let's put Flex on it.
I saw it. Ooh, that'd be fun. I saw it the other day, and I was like, "Holy moly, Lenovo!"
Still want to get my hands on a Gram and put it on there.
That one that was on the list, they've moved it to. It's not a check anymore. I think they accidentally. I think it got put on there preemptively.
Boo.
Yeah. And it was the big Gram.
But
anyway,
this is
it's a flagship device.
It's a flagship. It's top of the line. It's if you want everything thrown at a Chromebook and you want the nicest experience you can get right now. I mean, this has got it.
That's it.
This has got it. And if it goes on sale again, what was that? Which processor was in that? What were the specs on that?
i3 8. Was it
8128 or 8256? I can't remember. Ours is an 8256 that we're testing. I just don't remember.
Let's just look.
Yeah, I mean that's a great price. That's a fantastic price for this device.
And you're going to be well pleased. Like if you have it, like. And again, like as you're using it, you'll kind of get used to all the stuff it has. And then once you realize that a lot of Chromebooks don't have all of those niceties, it's like, oh, I miss it.
Yeah.
I miss jumping into, like we have pretty frequent web meetings. And, I always have taken on whatever Chromebook I'm on. And I just find myself kind of missing my HP now.
Nice.
But, I want to let the guys who are in the office now take it and use it for a little while.
Yeah.
Like we've wrapped up the B-roll, and so now it's kind of fair game. Power wash it and take it for a spin.
So it is.
Just don't fall in love.
This is probably worth sharing. It is still on sale. So it's i3 8128 Quad HD. It says Iris Xe graphics. If you go to HP and buy this, it is not Iris Xe. It is standard UHD 630. You don't.
That's kind of a bummer.
Well, they don't do Xe graphics with the i3, so that's.
It's only i5 and up.
Yeah, it's i5 and up. So that's why we said you're not going to get this. And I don't know that Google's going to open the door to i3 for Steam because they want the Xe graphics. And
you want to have a good experience with it, so they're going to limit it to those.
But anyway,
I could see them down the road, like once they've got it all ironed out, being like, open the doors.
But most Linux, most games, especially older ones, I mean, I play them on 10th gen devices just fine. But maybe they will. I don't know. So, anyways, it's normally $1149. Right now, it is $869. So it is still very. So you're talking less than $100 more than your flagship that you're going to go to.
And
Best
this version will end up at Best Buy. Remember, the C1030 was kind of enterprise only for a while, and then it showed up as the X360 13C at Best Buy out of nowhere. About a year after it came out, and it was $900 or something like that for the Core i5, I think, or something. So, and we did a whole video about it. Like, we're like, is this the same thing? We went and got it, and it was the Elite C1030, just rebranded as a consumer device. Yeah. I could see that happening with the Dragonfly after it does its run, and they get all they're going to make sure they have enough of them to get all enterprise people
taken care of. Yeah.
Yes, they're not going to put it out in consumer channels before that. Yeah. And once they do, I mean, it could be a reasonable price.
Sure.
Or it starts at $900 or $950, and then it's at Best Buy, so now they can it's on sale, $100 off. Like the consumer model of the Elite C1030 was on sale just the other day for $650. Yeah. It's been on sale for as low as $550. Like it's ridiculous to get a device that's that nice for that kind of money. Price, it's crazy.
What you said that one was out of stock?
That's what it says.
Bummer. was going to say, write that up. We'll make sure to include it in the show notes. But yeah, that's a bummer. Okay, well, there you have it. There's the Dragonfly. Go check out the review. It's a fun one. It's a good watch. Go check it out. We'll make sure to link it down below.
Man, I thought that was a segue.
What?
Good watch.
Oh.
Do it.
It's a good watch. Got a new watch. Yeah. Pretty stoked on it. Seiko, new Seiko. It's still in the 5 series. Their 5 Sport series.
Oh, pretty.
This is the GMT version. It is quite saucy. This is the SSK 001. Go check it out. I'll show it on this.
Robbie just fell asleep.
Robbie's sleeping.
Sorry, let me wipe the glaze off my eyes.
Mechanical GMT.
It's the 0211 X Core Duo
2 Nitro.
Mitsubishi.
2 Nitro.
Oh, wait, that's a golf club.
I was going to say, you're just talking about the shafts on your golf clubs now.
MMT80.
MMT80.
Yep.
Stiff shafts. Okay, make sure to go get entered to win on the giveaway. Make sure to go check out some fresh roasted coffee with a Chrome Unboxed special edition bag. It's awesome. Cool stuff. But we appreciate you all watching and listening. And if you are watching on YouTube, which you should be, go check it out. Make sure to give us a thumbs up if you like this.
Yeah, because you can't see these awesome bags if you're not watching on YouTube.
Right. You don't even know what we're talking about.
Yeah, you have to imagine.
If you're just listening, you don't even know what we're talking about. Give us a subscribe down there. When you get entered to win the giveaway, you're going to get subscribed anyway. So do that first. But then, click subscribe down on the video if for some reason you didn't. I don't know. Click subscribe.
Little thumbs up.
Enter the giveaway. That's all you need to do. And then click the notification bell so that way you get an alert when we put out
and
future episodes.
drop some comments because we like talking to people on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely.
YouTube comments are always they're so much more fun.
I always try to go in and respond to like at least the first couple or something.
But we love chatting with people on YouTube.
Yeah. So all right, that's it for this week. We'll catch you all in the next one. See you.